Welcome back to. Oh wow, it looks really stupid with these headphones. wait. You can't see this.
I can see myself. I can't see you. I can't see you at all.
When you look in here, I look like Dumbo or something. Dude, it's bad.
Dobby? Dobby?
Dude, Master gave Dobby a sock.
Dude, that literally it makes it looks like you have like massive ears, dude.
I know.
That was
Okay, this is a little bit better.
Okay.
This is a little bit better, right?
Yeah, no, that's good.
I think the hat kind of helps balance out and make it look like I actually have a head.
I was gonna say literally just a circle with huge ears, bro. Okay. So that's
right.
not an intro we're gonna use.
I mean, hey, you never know. This might end up in there. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Just Joe BTS Podcast. We are sitting down today with James Palos.
How y'all doing?
Is it Palos or Palos?
Palos.
Palos.
I'll just don't say Payless. That's the only thing I ask.
That's the shoe brand.
Oh yeah.
All right. So yeah, James Palos is on the show with us today, and we're going to be talking to him about some movie stuff and also music. So James is a musician as well as an avid movie reviewer, which we love to have on this show. So James actually is on Letterboxd, which I highly recommend to anyone who's watching this who is not on Letterboxd. Get on Letterboxd.
100%.
It's a great community. We're going to talk a little bit about Letterboxd. We're going to talk a little bit about some of his favorite movies. And then we're also going to do a little bit of a deep dive into what it means to be a musician in Chicago, what he's doing, how he's getting after his goals, a little bit of all that. So welcome to the show, James.
Thank you so much. That was a great intro, man. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Of course.
So for people who, unlike me, don't know anything about you, so a little bit of backstory on James. I met James when he was probably about 8 years old or so. And we've just kind of known each other through, third-party events and things over the years. And yeah, just he's been an awesome guy. Always has loved my affinity for movies, and likewise, I have loved his affinity for movies. And so we've had a lot of great conversations over the years. And so this was kind of a natural choice. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Of course.
What's your journey been like?
So first off, I started off in sports. It was definitely like my first love was sports and stuff. But my family, I'm the youngest of 9, so a lot of my siblings are super into movies and the arts and stuff.
What's it like to be the youngest of 9?
Dude, insane. It's a party every time we get together.
Do you get picked on a lot or no?
Oh,
are you like...
bowling is not a thing with 9 children because everyone bowls each other. So it's just, that's the base community. It's just like, we all kind of hate each other, but we also love each other.
So it's only up from there.
Exactly. So if bowling just doesn't exist, then you can't really say anything that's bullying another person.
Okay. It's a really interesting, that might be a hot take, but.
Oh, it definitely is. 100%. I definitely know a lot of families with bigger families that are like, no, we don't bully each other. I'm like, that's how you show love. I don't know what you're talking about. That's insane. But yeah, no. So I never really got into the arts when I was super young, but my siblings were always just, my brothers had an Irish punk band when I was growing up, and they were playing a lot in Chicago, a lot of just like Irish dive bars and stuff like that. So I was really like interested in that culture and stuff. And then I think at like 15 and 16, I really got into the original Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is incredible. And then I got super into the way that CGI was used and all that, got into the Lord of the Rings and stuff. And then just COVID. I started playing guitar during COVID. So that's how I shifted from not just specifically playing sports and all that to then like kind of fall in love with the arts and then to make my own stuff, which was music in 2020, right? COVID started in 2020, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, so picked up the guitar. I've been a quick learner, quack learner. Been a very quacky.
He's been a quack learner, guys.
I've been a quack learner for, ever. No, I've been a quick learner for everything. I feel like I can pick something up and then learn the basics very fast. So if I really stick with that, then I'll be able to kind of create it my own way. Okay. Sports was always like, the basics were the fundamentals, I could get that down and with everything.
You're a quick learner when it comes to anything, not just music.
I feel like, again, it depends on the amount of effort I can put into it. Okay. I feel like with sports, it was like very much, I grew a foot in 1 year. So I was like, I need to control my body. And then I focused on sports. And then COVID hit and I was like, oh, I can't do anything. And I'm sitting down doing nothing. I'm like, oh, I need to play guitar. So it was like, I'm a quick learner and I would say almost anything, not a brag. That's like, because I'm a man of many talents, master of none. Not a good guitarist, I'm okay playing football, but basketball, oof, you've seen me play basketball. But I can dribble ball very well. But yeah, so I'm a very quick learner. So during COVID, I was able to kind of really dive into the arts a lot more, making my own music, and then really getting into like a Kurosawa and all those films. I'm not gonna try to.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah,
I just avoid saying the name. I just say Kurosawa.
Kurosawa.
I can say that part right.
So yeah, Kurosawa films, got super into that, and then realizing like music and film is just like such an incredible marriage.
Yeah.
I think 2023, I was just playing my playlist on Apple Music, made a playlist of all the movies that I love, the soundtracks and the real main themes of them. Because you could just listen to a whole entire soundtrack for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and then just be like, I'll replay it, you know? But I was like, I need to pick out my favorites of those films. So yeah, kind of a jack of all trades, if I'm summarizing myself after all that long conversation. Jack of all trades that have really found an affinity of music and try to make that my own. And I think really the arts in general have really helped me find that path through. So
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that answer because
it's a lot, man.
it was a long answer, yeah, but I love that because so many people that I've interviewed or talked to or whatever, even not on this podcast, but just in general when you're talking to people, men especially, I find this with. It's not always across the boards this way, but a lot of people find their identity in their work.
Yeah.
And you find your identity in your art, which I think is really cool. Because in many ways, art is self-expression, right? Yeah. Where work, a lot of times you never get a chance to express yourself the way you want to. Unless you're like me and you work in the film industry and then
you literally put your soul out there. That's the cool thing.
It's awesome. And you get paid sometimes. Sometimes. There's some people that really don't like to pay you, but that's a story for another time. Anyway,
we got a lot of stories like that.
There's probably,
I know it.
Oh yeah. So I just love that answer from you saying that your art is what defines you. So for not what it defines you, but what do you do for work?
For work, I am a caregiver, actually. I'm a private
Okay.
caregiver for a family friend. I work with a 84, just found out he's 84-year-old man. He was the first black
You didn't know
engineer.
how old he was?
No, so I want to say this.
You're a caregiver and you don't know how old the guy is.
I know the family very, very well. And I love my boss. But I walked in, I thought I was just going to be driving him. So the interview, I thought I was just going to be driving this man. I walk in and I sit down at a table with the family. It's the two daughters that I know personally well. Okay. And him, and he were sitting down. I know that he has early onset Alzheimer's. So I was like, okay, they're going to want me driving places. They're going to make a list and all this stuff. Sure. And then like we're talking and everything. And they're like, yeah, so like if you can get him out, and just like maybe take him to the Art Institute, stuff like that. He loves opera. And I was like, oh. So now, like, I'm not actually driving him. I'll put you hanging out with him. And they're like, yeah. And like, if you could just come by sometimes and like take him to Naperville to his house and just hang out with him, play music. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm not driving. I'm definitely caregiving. But yeah, so he was just talking to me and then they walk out and I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm a caregiver. And they're like, yeah, you're not going to be a chauffeur. I was like, awesome. Great. But yeah, so I've been driving for at least 3 years. I worked for a truck company, just parking like tow trucks and also with semis. And then,
do you ever tow my car?
I never towed anyone actually, because
that's important to clarify.
I don't have a CL license, so technically, I was on private property operating a vehicle owned and licensed by that company.
Okay,
so never had to commercially drive.
Okay.
Never illegal.
I like how you had to clarify that. Welcome to Chicago, people, where we have to clarify that we didn't exactly break the law. Yeah.
Especially with businesses, you do.
My gosh, only in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Joseph Raoul, Dr. Joseph Raoul, he's a very, very prominent man in the industry that this field that he studied in. And I've been caregiving him for about a year and a half now.
Nice.
So, and it's really nice too because he has an affinity for the arts. He played music for most of his life. He learned the harmonica when he was like 13, kind of sat it down for a while. And then once he was 40, he picked it up again, played the sax and the piano. So it's great working for him because he knows like this is a job, obviously, but I also like want to further your career because you do have a passion for music. And he saw that from a very early time. He's living in an assisted living area. So he was like, I want you to play here. If there's an opportunity, I want you to get here, perform, because he knows. He's like, I like your music. Not necessarily I'm good, just you play good. So I like it. So yeah, I love the job, the job is great. But again, I think that it's still just pushing that music forward too. And I feel like, especially with work, you got to have passion for it no matter what. You got to like it because you're not going to get out of bed,
Right.
So if you don't have that, then there's this level of give and take. So if you're always giving and you have that job that's going to give too, then it's the perfect marriage,
Right. Oh my gosh. I love your answers because you're queuing up, I don't know, like 10 other subjects that I want to talk about.
Awesome.
So this is great.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay, so I wrote down my notes this time because normally, if you've watched any of my previous podcasts, I'm very disorganized. I just kind of go off of the conversation, and they end up being like 3 hours long. So to save my editor,
I was gonna say.
I'm trying to do this. Okay,
save your mind tonight.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, so I want to talk to you specifically a little bit about Letterboxd.
Okay.
Just kind of right off the bat, and then kind of segue that into movies.
Okay.
And your love for movies. So, why Letterboxd? Why do you love Letterboxd?
Joey. I'm gonna say this is all Joey. For years, you've been telling me to get on there, and I've definitely seen it from afar. Obviously, Letterboxd posts on Instagram and other social media platforms. So I love the fact that they have this community that they've built outside of their own app.
Right.
So that's what originally drove me back into it. I made it in like 2019 or something. I think right before COVID. You were like, "Come on, you got it, you got it," and I was like, "Fine." So yeah, I think it made it in 2019, and then again, once I found that love again for movies, I was like, I'm getting back on this thing. This is awesome. So yeah, it was awesome to have you like introduce me to it, and then seeing the amount of community they have. So that's what drew me into it for sure.
That's awesome. Okay, so I didn't actually know that I was the one that introduced you.
Yeah, dude.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So you love Letterboxd. Tell me a bit about your Cinephile history. What kind of movie person are you?
So it definitely started off, my family is obsessed with horror movies. I was always too scared of them, but I would still watch them with them. My mom is the biggest trivia. She's just really smart. I was going to try to dumb it down, but no, she's just a very brilliant woman. And from a very young age, she was like, we're going to kind of curate what movies you see and what we feel like is good enough to watch. Okay. Where we didn't have a lot of dumb movies in our house, Okay. We always had the VHSs and stuff like that, so it was very
Legally Blonde.
No Legally Blonde, no.
Probably a good choice.
I actually don't mind Legally Blonde now. My mom has also opened her horizons to more dumb movies, but she also watched Spaceballs when it came out. So
that's a great movie though.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Is it a great movie, or is it just a great movie?
It's a great movie.
Exactly. But yeah, so my mom and my dad were definitely like, we're going to curate the films that our kids are going to watch. We want to make sure that they're learning something when they're younger, and then when they're older, just still be able to open up their horizons to see other types of films, but also we never sat down with the family and watched Midnight Cowboy or something, we were just gonna sit down and watch a horror film or something like that, something that has a story to tell, but also not where it's graphic or anything.
Right.
But that doesn't mean she stopped us too. She still gave us that room to kind of take in whatever form of art we wanted to.
Right.
So,
which I think is a smart move by parents.
Yeah.
Because once your kids are at a certain point, don't get me wrong, I don't have kids, so this could all change.
We're also the youngest. We're children of big families, so we do see.
Yeah,
see people grow.
I have a big extended family. My personal family is fairly small, though.
Dude, 4 is big now.
I mean, 4 is pretty big,
Yeah.
but compared to you,
Well, yeah.
I don't even make half of
Dude,
what-
compared to my family, we have family in Mexico that has 14 out of
Oh my gosh.
one marriage,
That's crazy.
which is,
I mean,
that's 5 more.
good for them that they can handle that. Oh my god.
Also, handling it, that community and culture is like everyone. That's a communal thing. You know?
Quite literally takes a village.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, because you are a village. 13, bro. You got a basketball team. You got a starting 10, and then you also got your
have a
bench
bench.
out there. Yeah, literally.
Wow. Yeah. So I don't know where I was going with that.
Movies. Yes.
Oh yeah. I
Love for movies.
just think it's awesome that that your parents gave you that opportunity to explore and broaden your horizons, because I think a lot of parents these days don't even know good movies. A lot of people, I mean, not even these days, right? I just think across time.
Yeah.
Just to encourage your kids to get out there and explore and learn more about, the world around them, I think is so important, because your affinity for the arts would never have happened if they hadn't done that, right?
Exactly. And I think, obviously, my mom, I think, was more into the arts than my dad, but it's also that marriage between like kind of the realistic view of the arts and then like a very like open-minded kind of wandering view.
Yeah.
I think that marriage between those two really made it, it gave us like bite-sized bites of all that stuff,
Which is
like,
great.
because you could start watching Bergman films at 13 and 10, but you're not going to know what's
You're not going
happening.
to have any idea what's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and my mom was always like, again, she was in love with horror. So 70s, you got Roman Polanski making stuff. You got Wes Craven. You got all these guys that are making some crazy stuff. Wes Craven. That's not, I'm mixing two directors. No, Wes Craven. Yeah. The Thing.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I was like, wait, no, I'm mixing those. No, I'm thinking John Carpenter. And I thought I said John Craven, but no. But you got all these guys. That's the ADHD right there.
What is happening in your brain right now, dude?
My mom definitely had all those crazy directors that were making some very very artistic forms of horror that time.
Yeah.
So I think she was like, if we're gonna watch films, we're gonna watch good films. We're not gonna.
If you were raised
waste
on
your
that,
time.
just huge tangent here, but if you were raised on that, what do you think of The Substance?
The Substance?
Because a lot of people were.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen The Substance.
So this is the reason why. My brother Paul, the lying man he is, said we were going to watch it opening day. So I waited until we got the tickets, and I was like, okay, just like send me the receipt. And he's like, dude, I forgot, I'm working, so I can't go. And I was like, that's fine. Let's go next week or something. Let's go on the $5 Tuesdays. So let's go then. And he's like, okay, let's do it. So I bought the tickets for us, and he's like, on Monday, was like, dude, Am and I are going to go to the caterer because they're getting a wedding. So I'm understanding of it.
Oh, yeah,
He's
that's right.
Getting married.
He's getting married.
So it's like, we're going to go to the caterer. So I was like, okay, that's fine. And then it just never happened. Never solidified. And then he watches it without me.
He still
watches
watched it?
He watched it. He watched and he bought the DVD.
That's just mean.
Heartbroken. Yeah. No,
That's that large family bullying you were
exactly.
talking about.
No, that's the love. He's also a forgetful guy, but yeah, no. So I still haven't watched it, and I definitely want to experience that movie with someone that like loves that era of horror.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to just sit down and watch it by myself and not have someone to talk to. That's the kind of film where I know I'm gonna pause and be like, dude, The Shining, dude. Like you're gonna be pointing out so much stuff.
You bring up something interesting there. Do you pause movies?
Oh yeah, all the time. So wait. It depends on what type of film. If I'm watching a comedy or something, then I'll like be writing or something while I'm watching it and kind of be half on, half in. Okay. Like I watched Caddyshack and I was like, this is gonna be just like a dumb 80s comedy, right? Or 90s? No, let's get 80s
I think
film.
it's 80s, yeah.
So I was like, I'm just gonna have that playing in the background. But if I'm like sitting down and watching a film, like I did a deep dive. I also going back to Letterboxd.
Yes.
Going back to Letterboxd, I always write my reviews the day after, and
Oh, no way.
yeah. So I'll watch the film all the way through, and then I'll think about what I'm going to say, and then watch it the day after. But I always
Trying to
get
come
in.
up with something witty, a one-line sentence,
Oh, I do that. I do that all the time, dude. Kevin invaded your Spacey, man. That man wasn't in so many films. But yeah, so I'll like watch a film, and then the next day I'll review it. But also, I'll watch films like on the weekend, and then I'm working or I'm partying on the weekend. So I'm always drunk when I write the reviews, and I have to go back and edit it because I'm like, this doesn't make sense. I didn't use a period here. This is just a run-on sentence. So yeah,
You're that guy at the bar where everyone in your group is like on the floor dancing, you know.
Oh, no,
and
no.
You're just at the bar on your phone, and everyone thinks you're depressed, but really you're just writing a Letterboxd review.
No.
You're finally drunk enough to write something.
I'm the dude at the end of the night where everyone's getting ready to pass out and calling Ubers. I'm like, I watched that movie yesterday. I gotta review it. Instead of going on Uber, I'll be on Letterboxd writing a review at the end of the night. That's
all
the
your
problem.
friends are picked up and off the curb, and you're
I'm
just like, okay, now I can open
Jojo Rabbit was great. That's the problem. I think I do have to just like sit down, be mindful of the moment, but it's also so fun to look back at those reviews and be like, dude, what was I even trying to say here? I know there was a thought here, but I was gone.
It just did not make any sense. Yeah.
But yeah, so I do love leaving reviews the day after.
That's so funny. I write my reviews literally the second that I stop watching the movie. Like if I'm in the theater, as soon as the credits roll.
That's when you start writing.
Yeah. I like to write my thoughts exactly as I have them right when the movie ends, so I know what my full impression was.
Yeah.
Because if I sit with it too long, I'll start like second guessing myself, like, oh well, but there might have been a meaning here, and there might have been this and whatever. And I don't like that because it feels ingenuine to me. Going back and it's almost like I'm second guessing my own intuition, right? Yeah. Same as why I was talking to my last guest I had on here about this, where we were talking about movies, which is not taking the influence of like a movie reviewer on your movie, like before you write your review. Like your opinions should not be swayed by other people. And I feel like I am all over the internet with movie stuff. Yeah. So because I'm on there and I'm taking in everyone else's opinions constantly, I feel like I constantly am biased. So anytime I get a chance to see an advanced screening of a movie, I see it because I will usually appreciate the movie in a whole different light than after I read a review and someone's like, oh, this movie was terrible, or 100%. No one understands this movie. It's amazing. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'm dumb. Like what?
No, I agree with that 100%. So the first part, I love doing it the day after because all those feelings are rehashed, and then it's like, oh, so then I really felt that, Yeah. If it's like something new and like, oh, I'm adding on to the feeling I already had, then I'm not going to say that. But like, I think Jojo Rabbit, I was like, Taika Waititi just killed the directing of it. The movie could have, the first thought I was like, oh, this is a beautiful film, all that stuff. And I was like, wait, this is like a comedy director writing some of the harshest things and like also making you feel bad for some people that you're never feeling bad for.
Yeah.
So it was like all those things was very difficult to direct, and he was able to do that in such like an insanely casual way.
Yeah.
And then I was like, the day after, I was at Taylor Street Tap, the incredible bar in Chicago that my brother Paul works at. But yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, wait, I'm feeling that all over again. Like I'm 3 shots in, a couple beers in, and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm feeling that same feeling over again.
Yeah.
So I like having that like able to go back and re-feel the same things. If it's something new, then I'm like, I'm overanalyzing. That's not really what I was feeling.
That's fair. Yeah,
so
that's definitely fair.
And then the end, you said something so beautiful about being swayed by reviews.
Yeah.
I always consistently will not watch a trailer for a film that I really want to see for the first time.
No way.
And also still haven't seen Godzilla -1, have never seen a review, have never seen a trailer.
Yeah.
I will not do it. And then reviews, just the average score. Like that's it. Because at the end of the day, if it's 250 people, then you're going to agree with like 40 of them or 50 of them.
Yeah.
But you don't want to hear their thoughts. I feel like it's specifically with films where it's like it's such a long and drawn out story that you really just want to feel that for the first time through your own point of view.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I'll be like, oh, dude, this guy's so off. I'll be judging the hell out of some reviews. But no, before we make it, I always make sure that I'm not looking at any reviews, average scores and everything, and then not even watching trailers. Like the Batman film, I didn't watch anything for it, and I was so hyped to watch it. I love it. And so many people bash it. But
I feel like that's amazing because I don't know. I can't stop myself from watching trailers. I watch every trailer, so I know about every movie. I know like all. I'm an analytics guy, so the more data I can take in, the better for me. But yeah, I feel like when I was a kid and I never saw trailers for movies, and I would just go in cold to a movie, I appreciated those movies so much more.
Oh yeah.
Because I didn't have any kind of preemptive like, oh, this is going to be this kind of movie, or oh, this is going to be, whatever. I just was there to exist in the world and appreciate the story, and that was it. Like
That was it.
I
There
had
was
no
other
idea
thing.
what I was going into otherwise. And I feel like that's actually maybe I'll revise the way I do that actually now. That's a really good idea though. I don't know. I don't know if I could survive not watching any
The
trailers
curiosity
because
kills
it's
the cat,
everywhere.
man. It really is.
And then you're like on Instagram and
it
there's just
pops
a
up.
clip and you're like, oh.
Every time it's like I almost drop my phone whenever I see a trailer. I'm like, oh no, skip.
Okay, tell me about so your brother Paul has a really interesting thing. I want to have Paul on this podcast.
Oh, you got it.
Paul, if you're watching this, I want to have you.
Oh,
on here.
everyone's gonna watch it. I'm definitely. That's what I'm trying to catch myself when I swear. I don't want my mom to be like, "Come on, James, come on."
James, I taught you better.
She did.
So he has this really cool thing. I don't know if you've ever been to one of these, so I kind of want to get your take. And then I'm going to tell him when we have him on, I'm going to have him tell me more about this idea. Your brother inspired me hugely when we were, I don't know if that's a word, when we were out at
Close enough to a word.
a bar watching you play. He was bartending that night, and he gave me this awesome idea that he does where since he's a bartender, he mixes drinks based on these movies. He'll pick like 3 movies, have people over, they watch all 3 movies, and each one has a drink like curated to the movie, which I thought was awesome. So I kind of put my own spin on that, which was I would have people over and we watch 3 movies. Each one's picked by a different person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a small group. Each person picks their movie and then makes their own drink based on the movie. And then you're rated on your overall performance of like how good the movie was, how well you hyped it, and also how good the drink was. Okay. And it's like a full experience kind of thing.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to one of Paul's, and what are those like?
Okay, so Paul's parties, especially when it comes to like sitting down and watching a movie, is an experience. Like it's not like a movie theater. It's like everyone's gonna be talking, but everyone's so zoned in on the movie too. So the conversation is based off of that stuff. I remember just recently, actually, 2 stories. Okay. 2 stories. I'm going to go on 2 tangents. Just recently, we watched No Country for Old Men.
Great movie.
We watched.
Did you know? I don't.
The Deer Hunter.
I don't want to interrupt you too much here.
Go.
But did you know Roger Deakins actually came in town in Chicago and did a premiere? Well, not a premiere, but a showing of No Country with a live Q&A and stuff.
Why didn't you tell me this? When was this?
This was like in January, February, something like that. It was fairly.
How much were the
recent.
tickets?
Oh, they weren't bad. They weren't bad at all.
I would spend like $1,000.
I know. Oh yeah, and then he also did a book signing, so you could like meet him and stuff. Yeah,
You win.
Well, no, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
Because
okay, I'm happy.
I was going with 2 other people, and
no, I'm not happy. No, I would be so happy for you if you made it. I'm sorry. Go on.
Both people were unable to go, and I felt really guilty going alone. One of them was my wife, and if I had bailed on her, that would have been a bad look. So I did not go. But it was a cool opportunity, and I really, really hope he comes back.
Oh,
because
dude.
that would be so cool. But anyway, continue. So you watched The Deer Hunter and No Country for Old Men. Both amazing
2
movies.
Incredible films. Very hard to watch, but also 2 incredible films back to back. And it was right after he asked me to be his best man. Yeah, so it was like...
you're his best man?
Yeah, I'm his best man. So that whole night was an experience, right? So we started off the night really upbeat, and then we watched 2 very long, depressing films. And then we were like, wow, that's crazy. So Paul always like tries to make an experience when you watch that film with him.
I love that.
We watched The Big Lebowski and made
yes.
White Russians. That was the first experience.
That's so great.
Dude, it was incredible. It was awesome.
You were so into that White Russian, you just headbutted the mic over it.
I'm realizing I'm getting closer and closer when I'm getting more and more excited.
Yeah.
White Russians are the best. And I'm going to die on this hill. They're the best cocktail known to mankind.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah. Dude, White Russians?
White Russians are really good. I don't think I could say they're the best though.
I'm also like
Do you
very
like
much
an old fashioned?
Hannah loves an old fashioned. Hannah loves an old
So
fashioned.
Hannah wears the pants.
In my defense, I will accept that. She's a very accomplished woman.
Fair enough.
Once you own a small business, I'm like, you know what you're doing. But yeah, no, she likes an old fashioned. I also
It's
like
great. Old fashions are amazing.
I love having the taste of liquor, you know? I feel like that's the best thing in the world.
It's the most. I'm not an alcoholic, but I'm an alcoholic thing to say.
Oh yeah. And I'm going to say something that's going to add to this.
Oh no.
But you want another flavor in there because you want that to enhance the flavor. That's why I love White Russians. You still taste that Kahlua and you still taste the vodka, but that milk really is enhanced because of those things.
Okay. I also, maybe this is part of it.
Okay.
I, in the past like 2 years, have developed like a lactose intolerance.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not
Non-dairy milk.
horrible. I know a lot of people that have it worse, but my stomach does not appreciate lactose. So
That's me with seafood.
no way.
Yeah. 4 pounds is dangerous for me. That's what my doctor said. He was like, there's a mark where it's like,
4
you might need an
pounds.
EpiPen. Dude, I didn't realize how little that is. I was like, 4 pounds is insane. 2 pounds of shrimp is like a platter. Like, that's like,
But are you eating a full?
no. But when you sit down,
Because that would mean you're eating 2 platters of shrimp.
a full shrimp. But that's 2 people, 3 people in a party sitting down and having an order of shrimp.
Well, yeah.
That's
yeah.
dangerous for me.
But
That's-
if you ate all of it,
Well, yeah, that's the thing. If
it's like if you're sitting there with people who hate seafood and you order 2 platters of shrimp and finish them. Like, we
I
have
was
other
saying in the
things to
grand
talk
scheme of
about
things.
how weird that is,
I've
man.
seen the grand scheme of things. I thought that was like, oh, that's never gonna happen. That's never. I'm
Like,
so fine.
you'll see 4
And then
pounds of seafood.
You see 4 pounds, and you're
shouldn't
like,
be
that's a
eating
party of
4
that's a
pounds
party
of
of 4
seafood.
dudes, 3 dudes just eating seafood. Like,
Okay.
that's insane to
But
think
you're
about.
not eating the 4 pounds. Of
That's
seafood.
okay.
That's
yes.
where it's dangerous.
So yeah, that's not what I meant.
Like, your doctor wasn't like, if you ever see 4 pounds of seafood, you're going to the
You're gonna
hospital.
die. You're dying.
You don't
No,
have to eat them, but if you look at them, like, it's all over.
I was literally like, dude, that's never gonna happen. And as soon as I saw the amount of food, I was like, dude, that's insane.
You just saw
That's
your life
insane.
flash before your eyes.
I was like, there's no way 4 pounds that right there I can't ingest. That's what I meant. That's what I was like. It was so hilarious to me that he's okay. I see the point where it was drawn from my
Okay,
original
I'm gonna
thought.
let you die on the hill, but
Yeah,
it's
no.
not worth it.
4 pounds is never going to be ingested to me. So it's like, why was that? That was the bar he set, and I was like, dude, you put it down on the table. 4 dudes is going to eat that. 3 dudes are going to eat that. Why
yeah.
one guy? Anyone would die from that.
Yeah, honestly, I would not feel good the next day if I had 4 pounds of seafood. Okay, I want to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah, let's definitely. That's not making it. I'm calling it.
Oh,
not
that's
making
totally going in. We have to. Okay, tell me about what have you been watching lately?
it. Okay.
Anything recently that you've loved or hated, and what do you think of the 2025 year of cinema we have ahead of us?
I'm excited. I'm also so movies I've seen recently. The last film that I saw most recently that I really liked was Jojo Rabbit.
Okay,
I think that was
yeah.
the one that really made the biggest impact. I didn't like Anora.
You didn't like a
I disliked it a lot. It's a fantastical story, and they played it as it's very realistic, and that's something I didn't like. It is a very
explain
fantastical
that. Break
story.
that down.
They make everything very realistic, you know, like obviously people in this area are going to be acting a very specific way, you know, like this very rich foreigner comes in, he's going to be partying all the time, you know, that's a very realistic thing. But then him being like so casual with this person and then also like bringing her into his world, that doesn't happen, you know, that's a kind of like a Cinderella story-esque.
Kind of, but it's okay. So
Okay. I'm gonna
I'm gonna 100% disagree with you.
Okay.
So it's you're showing her perspective, right? Where she's in this like horrible situation.
Yeah.
And she hates it and wants to get out. She has all these dreams and goals and aspirations. And she sees her ticket out, which is this kid
Yeah.
who's has tons of wealth and is seemingly really attracted to her, right? So she goes after that. But it's not that it's the shift. It all happens in that one room. It's one of my favorite scenes in movie history. That one room when it all kind of comes crashing down, right? When the hired, I don't know, they're not bodyguards really, but they're kind of like bodyguards.
They were literally, I would say there's assistants to an assistant. That's literally all
basically
they were.
When they all come in and are like, this is not happening, you know, you're going back home to Russia, whatever. That scene is when that like dream world kind of falls apart. Like everything kind of builds from like, okay, this is a very low reality, right? For her, it builds into this like dream sequence and then goes back into like a really harsh cut into reality. And as an audience member, that's specifically done like that so that you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is great. And you're really rooting for him. And then when it all falls apart, you're in her shoes now. They've taken you to be exactly in her perspective. So everything feels like way too real. Like this can't be happening. Why is this happening? And it's annoying the entire rest of the movie to see things fall apart and people make bad decisions after bad decisions and all of that. So it's all absolutely intentional that they have it kind of feel like a fantastical story, like you're saying. Yeah. But if they ended it like that, you'd miss out on the full character development. Nothing would really happen. You'd just have like a rags to riches kind of standard story.
100%. I'm not. I think the whole steps of this thing. You know, I don't think. Obviously, for her character, Nora specifically, she did not want to be in that world. You know, that was something she didn't want to be a part of. It was kind of eating her alive. You know, I think that there's a lot of people that find like an accomplishment of that field. You know, there's a lot of people that perform that do that as just an art. And I think that to show consistently, like where it's like she's being brought down and then she needs to step out of that, where it's like, for her specifically, her character, she had a lot of opportunities. Obviously, she was making good money. You know, she had a lot of opportunities to keep furthering her career.
Sure.
And also on top of that, there was a beautiful dialogue between her boss and her, where she's like, I don't have a 401k. I don't have any security in this job. This is really a day-to-day thing. You're going to call me sometimes. I'm not going to be here. And I think that could have been the crux of that, where it's like, she's trying to find security in a job where there is no security. There's no really anyone giving her health insurance. There's no one really giving her any breaks. Where they kind of, these people have to find their own way and push themselves to an extreme to get anywhere where they can be supporting themselves and be creating their own art in their own form.
Right.
So it's like taking away from that, and then you're trying to find a way to stay away from it. And I think some of those people, I know a couple people that have performed in that form of like pole dancing and stuff like that. And I think those people have definitely been like, this is an art form too. It's not just this way.
Oh yeah.
So I think there's a level of like, you're kind of cinematically playing this off as like, you need to get away from it. You need to stay away from this area, this field. And then on top of that, you're putting yourself in a very risky situation, you know, like going to someone's private house. That's a very risky thing. That's how people get trafficked. That's how all that stuff happens. So you're risking all that for what? Those 2 weeks of glory, you know? And that's where it's like, that's the fantastical part of it, where it's like a woman in her field would not be trusting of anyone. You know, a woman in her field would be very much, I'm working to make my own money. I'm working for myself, you know? And then on top of that, to add that extra level of like, now she's putting trust into someone too, which is not impossible, but it is fantastical.
Got it. Okay.
And that's where I was like, I don't see this character development. It's just, it seems like this wouldn't happen, you know?
Okay.
So that's where I was like, this is a fantastical Cinderella story.
Got it.
Personally.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting because that's a completely different perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the more you know, right?
That's how I look at it. It was a dangerous film. That's how I looked at it. And I know it's a completely different perspective because I've talked to a lot of guys that and women too that have loved the film. And I'm like, there was a lot of risky elements to that thing where it was like she's putting too much trust into him. There wasn't enough security net and all that stuff where it's like, a lot of bad things could have happened. And they just kind of played that off. And I was like, ooh, that's risky. That's risky.
Yeah.
Personally. Midnight Cowboy did that too. But then it showed that level of like, there's a line, you know? There was this line where he was like, I'm a young guy, I can do whatever I want, I'm making my money and stuff like that. But it's like, he never made it, you know? He never made anything of himself. So that's the line where it's like, you're really showing this realistic point of view. For her, it's like, she lived these 2 great weeks and all this stuff, and this world is so great. She never got hurt, she never got harmed, she never got trafficked, all that stuff. It's like, wait, that's a dangerous thing to be saying, because
that's true. Yeah,
it's a risky field. It's a very risky field.
Yeah, there is a lot of danger in it. Yeah, it kind of romanticized it in a way that most movies wouldn't. It's like Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman romanticized
on
the field.
roids. It's Pretty Woman on roids.
Yeah, so that is interesting though. That's a unique and interesting perspective.
Thank you.
For sure, I like that. Okay, so you didn't like Anora.
Love Jojo Rabbit.
Love Jojo Rabbit.
Yeah.
Great.
Sam Rockwell's the man.
Oh my gosh,
Dude.
He's in the White Lotus right now. I don't know if you're
I haven't
watching
seen
that.
it yet.
Okay.
So don't say anything crazy.
He is hilarious.
I also love
in
Walter
The White
Goggins.
Lotus. Oh yeah, and they're in it together.
Dude, so. Shanghai Noon. Have you seen Shanghai Noon with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson?
No.
Dude, Walter Goggins plays this psychopathic cowboy gunslinger. That's literally like, every time I look at Walter Goggins, I'm thinking of him with this crazy mustache, with this big old cowboy hat, just running around. So whenever I see him in anything else, I'm like, dude, that's just Shanghai Noon.
That's awesome.
Love
it's funny
it,
you say that, because now every time I see him, I just see Walter Goggins of Goggins Goggles. Because
dude, I'm getting excited.
it's a no, so he's doing a brand deal with GoDaddy right now.
Heck yeah.
The website company.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious
They
because
had books in the past, GoDaddy.
Really?
Yeah. The yellow book. Wait, yeah, that's GoDaddy. The yellow books with like a little guy on the top of the glasses. That was GoDaddy. They had books.
Okay.
Teach you like computer stuff, software.
I never knew that.
Really?
All I've ever known GoDaddy for is web hosting. But because I'm a business owner, you get so many, like all of my YouTube ads are targeted, because if you're this far in your life and you don't think that your phone listens to you, it's not true.
Dude.
So everything's targeted to like business owners for me, and I get all these GoDaddy ads for Walter Goggins Goggles, which is the brand that he runs. I don't know if it's a real brand. I don't know. I've never looked into it, but that he runs out of like GoDaddy or whatever, and it's also hilarious. So
that man has insane glasses in everything he wears, in everything he does. I don't understand that. So if he does have Walter Goggins Goggles, I'm getting that. Heck yeah, I'm supporting that man.
Okay, so anyway, movies this year. What do you think of the 2025 forecast of movies?
What I haven't seen too many that I've been like, I need to go. I was like, I want to watch Brave New World. Captain America.
What'd you think of that?
I turned it off.
Wait, did you go see it?
I bootlegged it because I refused to go to the theaters and pay for it because I knew it was going to suck. And I turned it off. I was like, the first 20 minutes, I was like, this is...
They really wanted that to be, the new Winter Soldier movie and just launch Anthony Mackie's career as Captain America. But they should just let Captain America die with...
Chris.
It was so weak. It was not what it needed to be.
The dialogue was terrible. Within the first 20 minutes, I was like, I'm done. I'm not.
The dialogue.
I will watch it when it's on Disney Plus just to be like, I've seen it. But yeah, no, I mean, the espionage storyline of Captain America could be so cool.
Yeah, I like the character, the idea of that character, but I just don't think that they're doing it justice anymore. And when you get to that point, it's like, maybe it's time to let this die.
They have not been doing anything justice for like 3 years.
It's true. What do you think? So talking Marvel, Fantastic Four.
I'm excited to see the actors. I think all those...
Do you think it's going to be good? I was talking to some film buddies of mine who work in the industry with me, and they were all actually really excited about it. Which I thought it looked like AI generated. That's like weird kind of, that like weird fall off
and
that
stuff that you
AI
feel.
has. It felt very much like that. And
it felt like they what was that?
like the artificial softening.
Yeah.
It felt like it was
Brush
that.
something. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I agree with that. I feel like, especially the Superman movie too, there's gonna be a lot of POV shots that they're saying.
Superman. Yeah. So okay, interesting thing. Kind of relevant, although this podcast will come out after. But the Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
The oh my gosh, I do not want to see that movie, but I'm going to because
When you go, I'll go with you.
Okay.
I'm so down. So down. It's one of those films where I thought it wasn't actually going to reach it to theaters.
It looks like just a bad concept film, and they were like, "All right, well, let's do it." Like
literally,
I feel like this movie was living in a vault of like, "Hey, what if we made a Minecraft movie?" And everyone was like, "No, this is a terrible idea. Like everything's gonna look like crap in this movie. Like we should definitely not make this movie." And then the Mario Bros movie came out and did well, and they were like, "All right, yeah, let's make that Minecraft movie, but let's just throw big actors in the movie too." Like this could be I would go see it if it was just an animated movie about Minecraft.
literally.
But they were like, "No, we need like live action because people need to see that this is different than the Mario movie." Anyway, they're releasing the first 5 minutes of Superman. So they're doing the Christopher Nolan and releasing the first 5 minutes of the movie. The first 5 minutes of Superman are going to play ahead of the Minecraft movie as a incentive for the Minecraft movie, and also to capture anyone who's sad and lonely enough to go see the Minecraft movie, aka us, and get them to go see Superman later this year. Which I love James Gunn, one of the best directors working in the Superman.
He's a hit or miss.
Or not Superman, working in the superhero field.
Yes.
I
would agree with that.
I think he's just passionate about superhero films, right? Like even when
Sam Raimi.
when he stepped away, when he stepped away from Marvel, he made Brightburn, which was, I don't know if anyone knows that movie.
Great film.
Not super popular, but it's a superhero movie.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with Marvel or DC or anything like that, but he still made a superhero movie, which then tells me, okay, he's passionate about superhero movies, which great. I love that for him. I think that he did a great job with the Guardians movies.
I love that first one. The second one was good too.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't love the second one, but the second one was if you're a director and you're making Marvel movies, if you can stick the landing 2 out of 3 times, or at least have your audience think you stuck the landing 2 out of 3 times, or even, every time you step up to bat, right?
Yeah.
And then he stepped over to DC and did the same thing. If your audience likes the movies you're making and they're not hating them and they're actually calling them better than whatever else is getting released, you're doing pretty well, because Marvel kills careers. That's like basically Zoe Chow made Nomadland, which I thought was a horrible movie. And then she went over to, right off of her Oscar win, went over to Marvel. And I haven't heard of her directing anything ever since that. Probably just took the paycheck and left.
Exactly. They have so much control over the actual process that I feel like at some point you're not going to be able to do what you want to do. Yeah. And I think it kills directors, especially with someone like James Gunn, who has an affinity for that genre, and Sam Raimi, where it's like you can see the actual direction that they were going in, and then the studio came in and went their own direction. Yeah. So and I think Doctor Strange, Sam Raimi, beautiful film. Incredibly well executed. I love that.
I thought he did a great job, minus all the Marvel elements.
Exactly. The dialogue, tying and everything was too much, And I think Sam Raimi is the kind of guy, because those first 2 Spider-Man films were so good. He had those conversations where it's like, we're not tying this into anything. This isn't anything more than what I'm making right here and what you're going to be viewing on Friday, right? It wasn't those the original in 2000. They released films on Friday. And that was it. And then he came in and directed Doctor Strange, the second one, right?
Yeah.
And you could see this, like, him, like, going through the different universes and all that stuff. There was, like, very Sam Raimi. And then, like, his conversations with, like, the Fantastic Four-esque people, like, that was just like, that's not Sam Raimi. And that's where you see like the director really has a vision, and they're creating a film that they want to see, they want to be able to produce and let people see. And then Disney just takes that over and kind of.
Disney is the franchise killer, in my opinion. They should just stop buying franchises, because even though they have so much money, they're not doing anything well. I thought the first of the new Star Wars movies was really good. That actually, that movie really inspired me to be a filmmaker. When I watched it, I was already well on my path to be a filmmaker, but that one gave me my passion for like VFX, modern VFX. I was like, okay, that had great VFX in it, that movie, and also I loved the story and everything else. It was the same movie, like rehashed.
Oh yeah,
but
100%.
I just thought that they basically updated the visual style, which I thought was amazing. So I loved that movie. And then the second one was trash, and then the third one was trash. And I was like,
the third one was awful. Like literally one of the worst films I've seen in a while.
I don't think I've seen a movie with more YouTube videos talking about how bad it is than the third Star Wars.
Snow White's gonna be up there, brother.
Oh my gosh, Snow White. Okay, did you see Snow White?
I refuse to. After one incident, I went into the movie theater and I was gonna buy my ticket, and there was a person in front of me that was like, "This is gonna be the best movie of the year, no matter what." And I was like, "What?" And it was like this teenage. She was probably like 17, 18, and she was with her friends. She's like, "No matter what, I love Gal Gadot. I love all these." I'm like, "No, that's not why it's gonna be a good film." I was like, "I can't feed this," and I walked out. I walked out instantly. I was like, "No, I'm not buying this ticket. None of this money of mine is going to this guy. I'm not. I refuse." The fact that we're making these people this delusional, where it's like, no, this person makes a film.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, no, I can't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to it. I'll watch it when it comes out. I'll watch it on streaming. You know.
Yeah.
I want to be able to say Lilo and Stitch, so I'm gonna pay for Disney Plus. But I won't pay it for the theater, man. That's
oh my god.
That's one of the worst things to see.
It was
to be like, no matter what.
So as a filmmaker, I see movies as an art form, right?
Yeah, 100%. It is.
And art is very personal, and you open yourself up to get hurt when you share something personal, right?
100%.
I hate people, and I mean that quite
just clip
accurately.
That. I hate people. Joey, that's a direct quote from Joey Corey right there.
I hate people. Stand it when people talk or laugh in a movie. Cannot stand it.
It's while you're watching it.
While you're watching it. It's like if you went to, the museum and saw a Vincent van Gogh painting and just like, oh yeah, whatever, and like bumped into it and like made it crooked or made it fall or something. What kind of disrespect is that? Like, that is horrible. Okay, so I hate that. And then also, I'm a firm believer in you never get up and go to the bathroom during a movie. You empty your bladder before you go in and you're done. I don't care if it's 3.5 hours long. Don't drink water that day. Like, that's the event you're there for.
These are definitely hot. These are definitely hot takes. 100%. But I like it.
Movies have been so dumbed down from being just like, I'm experiencing art, to instead it's like, all right, I'm just going to be entertained. And I think because audiences have that perspective on movies of like, oh, I'm just, whatever, it's a $5 entertainment, who cares? Because they go to it like that versus when you go to see live theater or something and you're like, I'm going to appreciate art and these artists. And even if it's bad, you're still there and you're respectful, right? But because of audiences' perspectives now, studios make garbage like Snow White because they're like, well, who cares? It's still going to get a couple people to show up. We'll make some money off of it, whatever.
Exactly.
And they think that that's okay. And it's not. It's so bad. Snow White was by far the worst movie I've seen in like forever. And I saw Amelia Perez last year. So it was worse than that. They did nothing well. And it just felt like they knew they were doing nothing well and they did it anyway.
They doubled down on everything.
All the music was atrocious.
Really?
Oh, it was so bad. The like visual effects were terrible. Everything was just like poorly Oh, it's so horribly directed. It felt like three movies that they just kind of mashed together because they were trying to make everyone happy and also make no one happy at the same time. And they like there was that they have like these weird like bandits in there that don't make any sense in the story, and they're like referenced like twice. And it's basically just to give Snow White a love interest that's not
The
a prince because they were so set on not having a prince. Fine, just do it better.
Also, yeah.
like I'm all for like kind of changing up the story, right? Like, okay, people have seen this, let's make something a little bit different
100%.
so it's still interesting for them to watch. They didn't. Everything that was like boring about the movie that you would be like, okay, I've already seen this part, they kept that. And then everything where they could have like been creative and stuff, they did nothing. So it was like it just felt like they threw random things in there to say it was different, and they like had thought it through. It was so bad. The acting is atrocious. People were saying Rachel Ziegler's great, despite it. She's great compared to Gal Gadot, but she's so bad.
Gal Gadot is a
All
character actor. She's the definition of character
Literally,
actor.
yeah.
You give her this stoic woman that is fighting for a cause or fighting against a cause. That's who she is.
Yeah.
Don't do anything else. She's not anything else.
She's not the most ranged actress.
She's a character
which
actress.
is fine.
That's fine.
So
There's so
you
many.
just use them properly in the
You're
roles.
not going to have Danny DeVito playing Abraham Lincoln. He's a character
very
actor.
true.
Just keep them in the
Yeah.
roles. That's fine.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like, no, you got to show your range. Robert
Right.
Pattinson is an actor that can show his range. You know,
Yep.
Gal Gadot.
Did you see Mickey 17?
I haven't seen Mickey 17 yet.
I gotta stop having people on this podcast that don't watch movies. Good Lord. Gotta talk about movies with people. The last guy, I had Connor on here. Connor will probably watch this.
Watch me. Oh, yeah.
When he watches this, I want to, chirp him right here. Connor did not watch any movies leading up to our interview. If you watch his interview, he talks about reading Wikipedia articles on them. And I was like, bro,
Just sit down, man. Just
watch the
it.
movie.
I will say
You can't laugh at that though, because you didn't watch these movies either.
no. Okay, wait. This is the reason why. Movie theaters is an experience, and this is what I will go tie back into you.
Okay.
Going to see Lawrence of Arabia back in the 70s was you're gonna sit down, you're with your friends and all this stuff,
And you're
There's
gonna
be
die
an
in the theater
intermission
watching it.
You're gonna sit down. There's
Yeah.
gonna be 10 minutes where you can get up, get your popcorn and all this
Did
stuff.
they have an intermission in that movie?
Yeah, it's a 3-hour long movie. There was a 10-minute intermission.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
because, oh my gosh, when I watched that movie, like,
I watch.
it's painful.
It's hard. It's hard.
So I also, along the lines of not getting up to use the bathroom,
yeah.
when I watch a movie, I sit there and I watch a movie on my couch. No phone, nothing. I don't believe in any of that. If I've seen a movie multiple times and I know it's bad or whatever, I'll do it. Or if I'm watching a movie and there's a really important work phone call or something like that.
Yeah.
But you're not going on Instagram or TikTok or any of those other garbage things. You're not doing that. You're watching a movie.
Yeah.
So anyway, continue.
Exactly. That's
Lawrence
I
of
feel like
Arabia
movie
almost
theaters-
killed me though, sitting there with no interruptions. Go ahead,
Dude,
Sorry.
you should have had that 10-minute intermission, bro. You need to. Anyway, movie theater.
Movie theaters. Yes.
So the reason why I wanted to see A Different Man in movie theater, didn't end up seeing it. I wanted to see Anora, and I didn't end up seeing it. I wanted to see Godzilla -1 because I want that experience. I want that to be an experience. I don't want to just sit down in a movie theater and watch it myself, because I could do that by myself. And then at that moment, I'm analyzing. I'm going to press pause and and think about what I'm seeing and viewing, and I really want to experience that. But when you're in a movie theater, it's a different thing. It's like watching a live performance. It's like watching a play or a ballet or an opera. Like you're sitting down watching art, and you're going to be in there with people that you are experiencing and want to experience it.
Right.
So when I'm in the theater, I'm going to be going there. Oh, John Paul, I'm going to be going there with Paul, go there with Hannah. Like I'm experiencing that art for what it is in that moment with people. I'm experiencing that in the theater with people. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not going to sit down and watch a movie by myself in the theater, because then I'm not going to be able to
Really?
experience it as much.
So you've never seen a movie on your own in a theater?
A couple times when we were younger, I would
Okay.
movie off.
Okay.
I definitely would go there once, and then I had a whole day, so I just hopped theater to theater. But I was 13, 14, so the movies that were coming out then were Marvel flicks. So I was watching Marvel flicks back to back to back. So, but no, now I'm like, I do want to experience that with people. I want to make that an experience in and of itself.
I
think
actually
viewing that
really
enhances
disagree.
that.
I love watching a movie on my own. Like
In a theater?
in a theater.
Really?
So cool. It's
Okay.
like a religious experience.
Really?
There's something really cool about being in a theater by yourself, and like it's big and it's loud and it's all around you, right?
Mhm.
But you don't have. Once again, okay, so this might be why. This might be why. In Chicago, I don't know if this is shared across every other
It will
state
be.
or
It'll
country,
be
but
countries.
oh my gosh, people talk during movies. People stand up during movies and walk around. People, oh my gosh, the worst is when you book the seat that's like dead set. I have this down to a science. I know exactly what the perfect seat is in every theater that I go to.
Okay.
And it's like perfectly centered, so the sound is perfectly centered because yes, that bothers me.
It also, especially when you're on like the left bottom side and you're not
Yeah.
getting any sound. Oh, dude.
It's like
That will be.
for me, it's once I mixed my first movie
Mm-hmm.
myself, or mixed my first video, or whatever you want to call it, right? You know how sound is pinpointed.
Yeah.
And no matter what they tell you about, like, oh, every seat in the theater is the same, it's not. There is a perfect spot. So if you sit in that sweet spot, everything's centered, lined up when you're watching it, and then also the sound is perfectly centered around you too. And it's just the best overall experience. But the worst is when you sit down in that perfectly centered seat that you picked out because you love it,
Mm-hmm.
and some other random dude comes and sits down, and you're at, let's say, AMC, sits down right next to you, and this man has like a pizza and like 3 buckets of popcorn, and like I don't know if he's feeding a family with it or what, but it's all there.
Hey, is it 4 pounds of shrimp though?
It's not 4 pounds of shrimp, not quite that bad. Unless I see a movie with James, and then it probably will.
Then it will be 4 pounds of shrimp, man. Then it will be. Screw the 2 or 3 extra dudes that need to finish that.
Yeah. It's just ridiculous. And then they're like eating the whole time, and they're like eating with their mouth open while you're watching them. It's like,
Dude, eating with your mouth open is difficult.
okay,
Any space, it's difficult. But
yeah,
in the
but
theater,
in a theater, it's like, it's just let me watch the movie. I don't know.
yeah.
There's just something about it. Okay, enough with my rants about movie theaters. 2025. Are you excited? Not excited? Overall,
Most of the films that came out early, I was like, I'm gonna watch, and then they came to it, and I'm like, I'm not watching Snow White. I don't want to make that an experience I watched. Gladiator came out last year, so no. Yeah, I feel like the ones that already came out, I haven't been blown away with. I am excited. Fantastic Four is coming out the end of the year, right? Or is it next year?
it's coming out in like 2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that one. But honestly, nothing's blown me away. I really don't feel like anything I've sat down like. Again, I don't watch trailers. I don't want to read reviews on movies.
Okay, so that's
So
fair.
I'll
you don't
see a
really
release and
know
then
a
be like,
ton
I'll sit
of
down and
what's
watch
going
it.
on. Okay.
But as soon as I know it's coming out, like Fantastic Four, I don't know anything else about the film other than
and you
the
didn't see
actors
the
and
trailer.
everything. Nope, I haven't seen the
So
trailer.
you're not even gonna know what I'm talking about.
Same thing with Superman. I all I know is one friend drunkenly told me that there's apparently a lot of POV shots. James Gunn was like, yeah, you want to feel that you're a part of Superman in a very intimate way in the film. So I was like, yeah, interesting. I don't know. Especially with the way people have been using CGI and to the nth degree,
Oh my gosh.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I try to purposely like stay out of people's conversations of the films as soon as they're being like talked about. But this year, Fantastic Four for sure. I'm hyped about that.
Okay.
But every other film I've heard about, I'm like,
Thunderbolts? No.
why?
I feel like it's gonna be really bad unless they have a really, really good villain. A good villain could save that movie. But I have a feeling it's gonna be a Marvel
They all are, man.
fest.
They all are.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
Not too excited.
let's
Not too
talk
excited this
about
year.
music.
Okay.
Because I really want to talk about music, and we're already over an hour here.
Is it really?
Yeah. It goes fast when you're in here.
It really does.
The first 2 podcasts I didn't even realize that we were at like a 2-hour mark, and I was like, okay. Anyway, music. So
Okay.
so you got into music during COVID, you
Yeah.
said. your brothers were into music and stuff like that, do any of them still play? Do you guys play band shows together or anything like that?
So I've never actually officially played with my brothers. So my brother Paul and John and Joe were in a band with a couple of friends that was called The Ideas in the early 2000s, 2008, 9, 10, probably around there. No, I don't really know. I was
just
child.
Give me like 8 years, but yeah.
No, they were a band for a long time.
Okay.
Joe still plays. He'll play like periodically, not at any place, but just for himself.
Okay.
He's got a family, so he's like teaching his kids instruments and stuff like that, which is really awesome. John, a master. Like the man is very intelligent, obviously, but he knows like 27 instruments, 30 instruments. The guy's incredible, and still very much active in creating music and like playing music and all that stuff. He'll always, whenever he travels, he lives in Hawaii, so whenever he travels to Chicago, he'll bring his mandolin and all that stuff. So it's really cool to see.
Nice.
And then Paul, he's in Wild. He's a very, very accomplished musician in Chicago. He's played the House of Blues. He's played.
He played House of Blues.
Yeah, he's played House of Blues, Hard Rock Cafe. He's a very accomplished musician in Chicago, and he plays at Taylor Street Tap. He's a very, very
What kind of music?
kind of intuitive person with music. Nothing. Like he plays everything. I love saying that with music. Nothing.
Okay.
He doesn't play a specific genre. I feel
Okay.
like you can kind of say Wild is like this blues rock kind of feel, but like once you sit down and listen to his music, there's not really a genre for him. Like he'll create country songs, he'll create country western songs, he'll create rock songs, he'll create ballads, and all that stuff. So
Does
I feel
he
like
do all original stuff?
at Taylor he does covers,
Okay.
but when he's performing, when Wild's together, it's all original stuff.
Wow.
And Oscar Wilde, it's spelled as with a E, But yeah, so my brother John will come back and play music with the family. Joe does do an Irish on St. Paddy's Day. He'll go over to Taylor Street and they'll play music together.
Nice.
And the Family Fest over in North Lake, they'll play over there too. So, but Paul is very much active in the scene. He's very much making his own music and playing around bars and stuff like that. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got into it with your family, with your brothers, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of music do you play? Where do you play? And what are your goals with music?
So got into it because I saw Bob Dylan, wasn't huge into his music at the start of my career. I feel like once I started playing music, but then I saw him perform and all this, and I felt like, oh wow, this is incredible. This guy's so old, blah blah.
This guy's so old.
No,
It's,
honestly,
like, mean.
oh yeah, dude, I could be mean to Bob Dylan. He's not a nice guy, but no. And then I saw a Complete Unknown after hearing him perform and all of that, and I realized that this art can be made for generations, and you can make this legacy. And it was so beautiful to see, and it was very nice to be like, oh, I can make that myself too. I can make a piece that is very personal or very abstract, and still have that creative spirit,
Yeah.
So seeing Bob Dylan, watching the movie, really helped me see that pattern of like, I want to perform, I want to be able to make music. Goals.
So, sorry to
go
cut
ahead.
you off there. Something that's interesting. Okay, I'm going to say that again because I want to cut that out. I want to cut that out, Joe, in case you're watching this in the editing room.
Oh, he is. He's
He
gonna
is.
be mad at us.
Fucking hates me. Okay, so that's interesting that you say that because Timothée Chalamet talked about taking on the role of Bob Dylan,
Yeah.
why he took that role. And he said his hope was that someone going to see the movie would be inspired. Maybe they didn't know Bob Dylan's music, they didn't like his music, something like that. And they would be inspired and, pursue their own creative passions because of that. And you literally did that. So that's just cool. I don't know.
And also, movies inspired me to go see Bob Dylan too. Like The Big Lebowski, hearing The Man in Me. I love that song. Didn't know that was Bob Dylan at the time. Found out. I was like, I'm not gonna listen to it again. I don't like Bob Dylan. And then I was like, I should go see him. So I was like, Big Lebowski song. I want to figure that out. I asked my sister about songs too. She sent me 3 songs. I asked my brother too. So like family again impacted me to find that love. Movies again impacted me to find that love. And it really set a path of like, I want to be able to create that art. And even if it's not going to be a movie someday or make an album that sells, I just be able to impact people through that medium is beautiful.
That's awesome. How did you pick up the guitar? Why the
COVID.
guitar? And then
So,
how?
My
And how-
brothers.
Sorry, one more thing. How long did it take for you to learn guitar too? Because that's
So
another
this
one.
is also apparently a very aggravating fact. I will save that for the end because some people do get pissed off of that. But
Okay.
my brothers have been very musically inclined. My brother Joe still plays music. He's still very much active. He teaches his kids. They were all in a band called The Ideas. My brother John plays 27, 30 plus instruments. When he comes back from Hawaii, because he lives in Hawaii, he'll play the mandolin. He'll bring his mandolin to Chicago, so it's still very much a part of his life. And then my brother Paul is part of Wild, It's a local Chicago band. He plays all the time. It's kind of a rhythm and blues kind of thing, but just its own take on it, very personalized. So those guys really impacted me. And then during COVID, I was always playing sports, loved sports. It was my life. And then COVID hit, and I wasn't able to do that anymore. So I was like sitting around, and I was like, I want to learn. I'm always a curious mind. I always want to learn. So I picked up the guitar, started playing, and was really like enamored by it. Now, this is the aggravating part. Because some people are like, it's impossible to play guitar. It's so difficult. You have to find time. It took me 2 days to be able to play my first song. And then I started playing bar chords like a month into it. So about a month, I could play a song, almost any song. Obviously, complex bar chords and all that stuff, and mixing. I'm not great at. I'm not great at finger picking and all that stuff. But yeah, it took me about a month to learn the guitar to just play. So. But again, you have to have the passion for it too, because I could have just stopped and be like, I can play A, B minor, E, and G, and I'm good. I can play a lot of songs with those chords. But the passion of it was like, I want to learn a different strumming pattern. I want to learn something else, You can learn the guitar very easily, but not really be a guitarist, I'm not a guitarist. Don't know theory. I don't know anything about the reasons why a sound works and why it doesn't work. Our family is very musically gifted in the fact that we play by ear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, okay, maybe I'm downplaying it a little bit. My genes helped a lot. Let's just say that. But yeah, so like I'll hear a sound and be like, that works together. That doesn't work. Music theory would be like, well, yeah, obviously a B minor and an E won't. That works. I think that, I don't know. I don't know music theory, but that will tell you that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely picked it up in COVID and then just fell in love with it and then kept it going. And then finding the passion, watching A Complete Unknown and seeing Bob Dylan play, where it's like, this is a legacy. This is a man that has created an art to the point where he's created a community and he's really impacted so many people. The fact that it was in a Coen Brothers film, like that's a very, very stark contrast to those characters, but they were able to create a community from that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay, cool. So what kind of music do you play and where do you perform?
Taylor Street Tap. And I play a lot of oldies,
Okay.
A lot of country, a lot of rock, a lot of folk and blues. Just love to be able to perform. It depends on the vibe of the night and all those people that are there, A different crowd's going to be playing, so you're going to play something different.
Do you take song requests?
I do. So at Taylor Street Tap, I play the first and third Saturdays. And then my brother plays every Friday. And it depends on the night. If people are really drunk, I'm not going to be taking songs requests because then it just like becomes too much,
Yeah.
I'll always play off a song. Like if someone asks for a song that I don't really know very well, I like to say that I've tried to play every single genre just in case someone does ask and it's a good night and people aren't too gone. I'll play like anything, but if it's a crazy night, then I'll be like, yeah, I don't know that song. I haven't really practiced that one, So you'll make up your set list during the night, especially if you're a bar performer. You kind of like, you got to know what the vibe is.
Right.
So
right. Have you ever been to Nashville?
I have. So
Nashville is like, never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, for you, since you haven't been to Nashville, or anyone else who hasn't been to Nashville,
Yeah.
or you've been there but you didn't really
I didn't
experience
it,
Nashville.
man. I didn't.
The covers are like playing covers is every bar in Nashville.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like there's some that are multiple floors and there's people playing covers on each floor and they're different. I was just talking to my uncle about this. He loves Nashville and they don't charge you a cover to get into the bar, because the idea is that you're gonna pay the musicians.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
tip the musician. So so very cool place. Love Nashville, but covers are a huge part of it, and no matter how drunk people are, and I've seen that happen where people are like super gone, and they're like, oh well, I'm gonna go request this obscure like rock song in the country music heart of America. And it's just so funny to see. Like the musicians will be like, "All right, well, I'll do it," and they make it happen. But it's just amazing to me because I'm not musically talented. I could never do that. So it's just amazing to watch these people do it.
So one thing in New Orleans at Pat O'Brien's was a super awesome experience to see professional musicians play. We got to see a lot of musicians play, but one of the things at Pat O'Brien's was you would request through Venmo, so you'd tip them, and then the request would come through the song.
Mm-hmm.
And if they didn't know it, they had two performers, two pianists. One of them would take lead on the song, on another song, and then one of them would listen to it if they didn't know the song, and then they would take lead on the next one. So no matter what the music was playing, there was no lull in there, and the requests were always being honored, even if they didn't know it.
That's
and I
awesome.
was like, that's such a beautiful setup, you know? No matter what, everyone's feeling what they want to feel. They want experiencing the music they want to experience. And also the artists are doing whatever they can to accompany that journey for you.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah, that takes so much talent. I could never do that. What's it like to be a live performer? Do you get heckled a lot? Do you have any funny
Hannah,
stories?
Wonderful woman she is. Club Vintage, great shop.
Mm-hmm.
My girlfriend had her friend come from Seattle.
Oh, also we should establish this. Hannah is James's girlfriend. So if you hear him say Hannah,
it's my
talking about his girlfriend.
Wonderful girlfriend. That's incredible.
Yes, we love Hannah.
Wife.
Oh,
she's the one, man.
Okay, yeah, that happened on this podcast.
Oh yeah,
hell yeah. All right, go ahead.
But yeah, so we went to Taylor Street Tap. It was a Saturday. I was performing, and her friend came in from Seattle. And this is the first time I got heckled outside of a nursing home. So I was like,
wait. Okay. We're going to have to go back to that. You've got heckled at a nursing home. I want to hear this.
So
continue.
Different vibe. Obviously, liquor's involved. People are like ready. Shrek was the reason why.
Shrek.
This
Do
lady,
you play Shrek?
Ellie, I knew one song from Shrek. It was the Counting Crows song from Shrek. I forgot the name. They have 2 or 3 songs.
I Saw Her Face.
No, that's Smash Mouth.
Oh, that is.
Yeah. Smash Mouth is hard to play because he sings off key. So all the songs are covers, but then he sings off key, and it's just weird. But
interesting. Okay, continue.
I would play the originals. Anyway, so All Star, all that stuff. But so Shrek came up, and then everyone at the bar wanted to sing Shrek. So it's like, it's fine with one heckler, you know, like you can play it off, and like especially when it's something like that, it's very oddly specific. You can play maybe 1 or 2 songs, and then they'll be satisfied, and you can go in with your set, and then see from other things. But then when it becomes the bar, it's like a completely different vibe. It's not like, okay, now I need to cater to everyone. So like once it's a heckle, it's fine, and then once it's a bar heckle, once it's a complete vibe change, that's when it's like, okay, now I have to be on my toes. Now I have to play very specific songs to feed the desire that these people have, which I wasn't able to do. Smash Mouth was difficult to play. I played one Counting Crow song, and then I did I'm a Believer, the original version, you know. So, but I wasn't able to accomplish that one. But yeah, I get heckled all the time now at the bar, and they'll be like, I want this song, and I'll be like, okay, that's fine. And it's nice too because it's an old person bar, you know. This is UIC, so a lot of college students will go to the bar next to the street, but then Taylor Street Tap is for the industry guys that have been working in the food industry for years, and then some guys that are just like retired that are chilling in Little Italy. So it's a very nice kind of cultural intersection of listening to music. So I'll be able to play like Riptide 1 second and then go on to Simple Twist of Fate from Bob Dylan, you know. So like Vance Joy to Bob Dylan is a crazy turn, but because of the intersection it is, it's the best place.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's kind of a perfect fit for you, like for playing the covers that you do.
And covers, and that's the thing too, Chicago does have this great scene where there's a lot of places that play your own stuff. They want you to perform your own stuff and promote your own stuff. And then there's a lot of places it's just like, you can go to that bar and just be like, yo, do you have a permit? Can I play? And they'll be like, yeah. And that's the greatest thing about Chicago. Because live music is very much a part of the city, but it's
Yeah.
not like you'll go out and you'll search for that live music.
Right.
So no matter what, you're going to be heard.
I love Chicago's atmosphere for just performing. Right. It's
awesome.
it's such a great place to be.
That's why people
A
film
young
here
person
all the
in
time,
the
man.
industry. Yeah. It's great because in any industry, there's so much art and so much culture
Yeah.
in Chicago. It's a great place to be.
And
And
get
it's
heckled by old people.
way more affordable than New York. Yes. So, okay. Well, I
Wait,
want to ask
New
you two
York.
things.
Wait. Let's stay on New York.
Okay.
New York is awful. Okay. I've been there 3 times now.
That's what
For
I've
the
heard from
arts,
everyone.
I was in Queens.
Mhm.
I was in downtown. I was literally in Madison Square. And I also hung out at Harlem. Those 3 places are very different, obviously.
Oh, yeah. All of New York is
all
very
of New
different.
York is very different. But consistently what I saw was that there was kind of a superiority within the music community where it's like, this is what you need to be doing in this specific place. And I was like, it's crippling. It really is. And
Yeah.
that's the dangerous thing about that.
And the thing with New York, and this is LA.
And again,
for
that's
me,
music for me.
right?
Like that. Yeah. Okay.
So New York also has a huge film scene, but New York and LA are kind of the 2 kings of music and movies and all that. In a lot of ways. I mean, yeah, Chicago's awesome. I think Chicago's just kind of a good blend. It's where all the non-toxic people hang out. So in New York, the interesting thing is it's so expensive and you've put so much of your life on the line to be a musician or a filmmaker or whatever in New York or in LA or whatever, wherever you are, that it creates this negative culture amongst creators. Because normally as creators, people aren't like super against each other and divisive, right? It's all about kind of trying to help each other out.
100%.
But then there's those people that are quite literally fighting for their lives because they can't make rent and they're just trying to live their dreams somehow. And someone's telling them like, don't worry, hang on a couple more months and it'll happen. And they're losing, their place to live kind of thing because they can't afford it because it's so expensive in all these places. So it's kind of that. It creates its own negative culture. And everyone that I meet who has spent a lot of time in New York or LA and then is back in Chicago, because people don't stay there long a lot of times, when they come back, they're just very I don't know, they're hard to read because they're trying to act like they have all this success, and whether they do or don't, they all act the exact same way.
Yeah.
Which is just really interesting.
It's that expectation, where you're fitting people into this box of this is what you're supposed to do.
Right. And they're like, I have to be this or else this person won't even respect me. And it's like, I want to know you it's like this podcast, right? I have people on here who maybe no one has ever heard your name, right?
Yeah.
And I love that because now you're getting out there. You're talking to me and I think you're just as interesting as someone who's making $30,000 a year. Yeah. Oh, wait, what am I saying? Not 30,000. $30 million a year.
It's like 30,000. Hopefully.
In this community, in this economy.
Age, yeah.
Anyway, okay, so going back.
Yeah.
What's the worst kind of heckler to deal with? And have you ever gotten like a mean heckler, or like someone who threw a drink in your face or attacked you?
No drinks yet. It's gonna happen. Yeah. It's always gonna happen. One person's gonna order something and then be like belligerent and just get upset. That's gonna happen. But hecklers, there's again the old folks home, the nursing home. There's always hecklers that will sing the song with you and then be like, one more time. And it's like, okay, like there's a whole group of people here, and I go like to room and perform for people because I don't want them to be like, I want it to be personalized for them. If they want another song, then I'll play another song. But I realized when we have like a big group around everyone and I'll sing a song, they'll be like, just one more, sing one more time. And it's like, okay.
So tell me about getting heckled by old people.
It's the hilarious thing.
Do you have like a story?
One of the best experiences was from a couple that I love. They're awesome. They'll give me their food. They make incredible food at the retirement home in North Lake. And they're so nice to me. But the reason why I actually started talking to them was because I was the communal thing. I was at the luncheon. And I was just playing music, and I was playing CCR. I played like 3 or 4 songs of them. And the guy like piped up and he's like, "We don't want to hear CCR anymore." And like, it wasn't mean at all. And then I was like, okay. So I switched up and changed it to like, I don't know who was playing, Johnny Cash, I think. And then he was like, "You're just playing the same artist again, man. Switch it up a little bit." And I was like, "Do you want to like suggest anything? Is there anything you want to do?" Because you always want to like make them think a little bit more so that they feel like there was a little more input for them. And he was just like, "Just play whatever you want, man. Just switch it up more." I was like, that's the worst heckler, because there's no input they're giving you. They just want you to do more. And it's like, I can't really do much more than the music I'm playing. That's why I'm playing this music.
Yeah.
So it's like direction based, but it's also very vague. And that's the worst type of heckler. And then I was like, "Guys, if you want me to play for you, I can play for you like solo. You don't have to heckle me when I'm on stage." And then he was like, "Yeah, I was just grumpy, blah, blah, blah." And we had this great conversation. But yeah, so that's kind of the worst type of heckler is when they want something, but they don't really know how to direct that that idea or that thought. And then it's just like, I can't really do anything. Can't fix it. Nothing I can change.
Right.
So
okay, so you play live music, you do covers. Do you write your own music?
I do write my own music.
So are you going to release that at some point?
Yeah,
Is that
so
coming out?
the end of July, I want to have the EP released. It's going to be 4 original songs.
Okay.
I'm going to have an opening at a friend's venue. I have to make sure that she still has that offer up, but
before you tweet it out here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, 2 years ago I started writing music. Never really had the impact that A Complete Unknown and watching Bob Dylan play. So I didn't have this like, I want to be able to perform my own stuff, and record my own stuff. But then I'm like, I actually do want to travel. I want to experience that. So I want to be able to release an album to be able to further my career and within the music industry. And I'm hoping the end of July. I'm shooting for the 27th of July.
Nice.
Obviously, when you're working a producer, you're not producing yourself. There's a lot of like give and take. There's a lot of, okay, now we need to do this differently.
You have a producer?
I've been working with this wonderful man named Benny, great guy. But the problem is he is also working with a studio that has a label. So all the stuff that we're doing is just him. So we have all this equipment and stuff, but then he has to take it to the studio to edit it and everything and remaster it all, which is fine. But because of that, when he's in his workspace, he's work first. You know, this is a passion project for me. This is something I'm doing. So it's not the foremost importance.
Yeah.
We've recorded 2 songs. We've remastered one. One of them's completely done.
Okay. What's that song called?
That one's called A Night Without Rain.
Okay.
It's a great song. Love it. It's actually, I think, my favorite song of mine.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only reason, there's still one line that I want to change, but the only reason was because I wrote it in one sitting, and then afterwards I was like, you know what? I'm not changing it. I'm not touching it. And that was it. And I was like, it is what it is. Whatever, if people like it, if people dislike it, it is what it is. Which has been an outstanding, people like it, so that's great.
That's good.
But it's definitely a song where it's just like, I'm happy with it. It's done. You know?
Yeah.
I definitely get to a point with my music where it's like, I need to keep on editing. I need to keep on changing this. This is a better line. Yeah. So that was the first song where I wrote was like, that's it. I'm finished. This is a good project. This is a good piece.
So what style is your album in?
I would say like blues. Like blues, because it's not light blues and it's not blues. So it's like blues.
Okay. Kind of right in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Okay, nice. So your album will be coming out later. What's it been like to record as an artist? Let's say I am someone who's never been in a recording studio recording music.
Okay, yeah.
Recording music.
It's very simple.
Relax. I've been out there.
Yeah.
I got outside my front door. What is recording music like? How does that process work?
So for us, it's very personal. We're in his room. We're recording it. He has his walls and everything.
Like his bedroom?
His soundproof walls.
Oh, okay.
So he's got the soundproofing up and all that stuff. So it's a very nice space, obviously, but it is his bedroom, you know, so it's a very personal experience. Again, it's just going to be guitar, a little bit of piano, a little drums. Nothing too fancy. I'm a performer, live performer first. So I want the recordings to sound like that too.
Okay.
So on top of that, I have been working with him for a while and the studio he works for because I will play rhythm guitar for them. So I've had this experience where a professional has taken control, told you what to do, make that sound specific for this sound, for this artist. And then I'm now doing this very personally. So it's been kind of a little bit of both. And it's cool to see both of those processes. It's definitely an interesting feeling to get where it's like, I don't know if I necessarily want to gear my music towards that direction.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, but I also don't want it to just be like this too. So it's definitely like an experience where you have to learn. There's no like, this is what it is. This is how it's going to be forever. That's not producing. That's not recording anything. That's not being in a studio. It's consistently learning. So that's been super cool.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. You should totally have me tag along sometime for a recording session. Shoot some BTS. That'd be a lot of fun, actually.
So originally, what I really wanted to do was go out to a cabin and film a whole entire documentary about me recording the first EP and just having conversations and stuff. Exactly. And then the producer that we wanted to work with originally was like, I don't know if we're going to be able to do everything in a weekend. And I was like, that's fine. Maybe we could just do the raw sound first, and then we can kind of just go back into the studio and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, well, if we go back to the studio, we should do this. We should produce it correctly. We should do it professionally. And I was like, I'm not budgeting that. I'm like, that's too much of an ask. So that project was like, then let's just do bare bones, let's grab someone's MacBook. Let's get one Shure microphone. Let's just play it off and just do it like that.
Yeah.
And the one guy that was going to help me out with it moved down to New York.
Oh my gosh.
So that project just never got off the floor. So I really would love to have that like behind the scenes.
That'd be awesome.
Act of creating it.
Have you ever seen?
Just make it a spectacle,
Yeah, that'd be cool. Have you ever seen John Bellion's his YouTube stuff that he's dropped? He does BTS of. Do you know who John Bellion is?
I think so. Did he do All Time Low?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So John Bellion is behind some of the biggest songs.
Yeah.
In music.
He works with Bruno Mars
music
all the time, right?
He works with so many artists. Yeah. So he does a lot of ghostwriting and then also just does a lot of producing for people. And then he was like basically blacklisted at one point. I don't know all of why. From creating his own music, and he's just now in 2025 allowed back into like releasing his own music.
That's crazy.
So he's been doing some great stuff since then. But he had a stint where it was like 3 or 4 years, and he was releasing great music for a while, and he did BTS of it. And if you want to talk about someone whose like ear is trained perfectly to know music really well, I would say him, and I forget the name of the guy, but the guy who does the Bleachers.
Jack Antonoff.
I
was literally Hannah showed me that guy.
Oh yeah. 2 of the most raw talents. So Jack Antonoff basically does all of Taylor Swift's music for her now.
Everyone, dude. He works with
yeah. Anyone
Bruno
who's
Mars,
good is
Jack Antonoff
through him.
John Bellion.
Bellion.
I'm gonna look him up more. But Bruno Mars and Jack Antonoff were two, and Pharrell. Pharrell's incredible. But 2 guys where I sat down and I was like, their knowledge, their understanding of music consistently brings other people's knowledge and way of making music up. Pharrell literally has made some artists like Jack Antonoff, Nate Russ. I was like sitting in the car with Paul, and I think we were driving back from moving some stuff. Oh, it was for New Orleans. So we were driving, and I was like, dude, Hannah loves the Bleachers, blah, 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 Jack Antonoff. And I was like, I also like love Nate Russ. His vocals are incredible. And he's like, yeah, we should listen to some Nate Russ. And it's just not music that you would be like, sit down and listen to. It's definitely a form of art. It's definitely, I'm not going to take away from what he does.
Right.
But you sit down and listen to Jack Antonoff, you're like, this is composed. This is like, everything is working perfectly in correlation of making this piece of art.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's that's that next level. You know, that's
his producing is unbelievable.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible. He's composing works of art every time.
Yeah.
So
That's the same with John Bellion. Definitely check him out. He did a thing during COVID where he did just like a live stream of him and like 4 other artists just making music in a living room or something.
That's sick.
And it was so fun to see because he was like directing them basically as they went. So they're all playing. He's like, all right, give me this, give me this, give me this. And then when you see it come together, like you can see his vision come to life. And it's just amazing to watch. Anyway,
I'm definitely going to watch it.
Very, very talented guy.
Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that.
I don't know.
But
it's a good conversation.
Yeah, we were talking about producing music.
Oh, yeah. Well, July, and I love the studio. Yes. It's just always learning, you know?
Yes. Oh, yeah, and we were talking about the behind the scenes. Okay, cool. So you're releasing that in July. Very excited about that. You're obviously going to have me make a music video for you because, dude, why not?
Everyone, why not? Let's just do it back to back to back.
Back to back.
Literally. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that would be so much fun. So what are your goals with music? What do you want to achieve with music? Is music your end all, or do you want to branch out into another art form or something else?
I love the job I'm working for right now because it's just like a perfect marriage of pushing my music career because I know that's what I want to do. I want to be able to impact the kids I have. I want to be able to impact the people around me. And I think that's the most important thing in the level of success that you want. Yeah. And I have a job right now, caregiver, where I'm learning so much from this person, and he understands the struggles of being a live artist and stuff like that. So all these things are really, really helping me and directing me.
Was he a musician too?
Yeah. So he knows 3 instruments. He knows the saxophone, harmonica, and piano.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow. So, great, incredible man. It's very, very intelligent, and it helps push that music career. And I know I'm on that lower level, where you're working at nursing homes and going bar to bar and stuff like that. So it's fun to be able to do that struggle. There's always the excitement of continuously working forward. Right. But yeah, music is it. That's the direction I'm going.
So I want to ask you this. Everyone kind of judges success differently.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a good segue into my next thing. I want to talk to you about mindset.
Yeah.
And kind of what that self-talk is. What do you tell yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So for success, what do you see as being successful in your life, right? Mm-hmm. How do you measure that compared to, I've talked to people who it's their next car, it's their next house, it's their, that vacation home they really want to buy, it's their next trip. I just really want to go to Italy, whatever, right?
Yeah.
What is success to you?
I think success, honestly, is a legacy, I think that the most important thing, and again, there's always more. Life, that's the most beautiful thing about life. There's always going to be more. But success is really just the amount of impact that you had on the community and the family that you created, and I think that legacy is the most important thing. And specifically with music, but with anything too, and with working and trying your best, there's some people that are going to love working on a spreadsheet and making something so perfect in that form of just numbers,
Yeah.
And there's an art to that too, there's a beautiful success to that when you're like 45 years old and your kid comes to you with their broken phone. You're like, I just need this, and that, there's a level of legacy no matter what. Yeah. Doesn't the paper dollar,
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets people in America, I think, so much, where it's like, that's the level of success you need. Sorry, I'm moving back and forth.
Yeah, you're good.
That's the level of success you need is, what's that next big thing? What's the thing that you can buy? What's the thing you can go do? And you're chasing something. That's not something you should be doing,
Yeah. No, I love that answer. I think, I think that we have a really interesting perspective of success and that work-life balance here in the U.S., which, don't get me wrong, it's amazing. We've built something that no other country has or anything like that, right? But at that same time, it's what are you really working towards? What are you leaving behind? Because none of us are going to be here forever. So like, what is your bigger goal? And I love some other countries. I've recently been Wow. I've recently
Yes.
been
Yes.
You're not alone. I did it too. I've recently been learning a lot more about like European cultures, a lot of them, and how their their work week is 3 or 4 days or something.
Could be 2, man.
And then the entire rest of the time is focused on like the community doing things together and growing together, or like traveling or whatever. It's culturing yourself and experiencing things and growing in experiences rather than just, work until you die kind of thing, like what we have here a lot of times. But there's a good and a bad to both, right?
Yeah.
There's a certain amount of, the United States has accomplished more than any other country.
The motivation that you can get from that.
Because of that, right? And it's that willingness to be greater than what you are.
Yeah.
So I just love that it, for you, it boils down to legacy. I think that's you got your head in the right spot.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to say I do. I think that's the most important thing I found.
Yeah, and holding on to that as you go further into your career is the hard part, because a lot of people lose track of why they started,
especially
what they
with
really
music
started for.
and the arts. You can get to a point where it's just like, I'm making something for money. I'm making something for me, and that's. It can't be a selfish thing,
Right.
You can't make it selfish. There's got to be more, but you can't be chasing something. So legacy.
No, that's awesome. So next, kind of segueing off of that, what is, what's your motivator? What's your why? I ask everyone this when they're on this show. And everyone's answer is different, but it has to be personal. It has to be something that you really believe in. The way I've heard it is, the bigger the why, the bigger the try, right? So, as an individual, as a young person in corporate America, not really, but in your creative field, right?
Yeah.
What is it that gets you out of bed? Why do you go to work every day? Why do you make music every day?
Life, man. Honestly, the ability to just wake up and have the world opened up to you, to be able to accomplish anything is the most beautiful thing. The fact that you can wake up and accomplish the most is something that can never be taken away from you. So that's the most motivating thing. It's so simple, but it is the most motivating thing.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think that's very relatable. Everybody has that, right?
Yeah, literally everyone can breathe. Everyone can wake up. Once you don't have life. So
true.
the motivation of just being able to live is just so much.
Yeah.
It's such a passion.
Making those experiences, making those memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pushing yourself, making the hard decisions, doing the hard things, working the most mundane things sometimes, but doing it so much because you're living your life and you want to be living your life.
Yeah, and you're passionate about something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me about the hardest experience you've ever had mentally. Okay. We're going deep. And how did you overcome that? How did you get past that? Right? You're here, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has these things. It's different for everyone. It could be professional, it could be personal, it could be whatever. Share with me a little bit about what your mindset is, what you do to get through those hard times.
Yeah.
And right, you're at the bottom of the ladder for music right now.
Yeah.
You're working your way up. So there's a lot of people in your shoes.
Yeah.
Where's your head at? How do you get through those things?
The hard things is like.
Also, I'm gonna have you pull your mic just a little bit closer to you.
Okay. The hard things.
You don't have to sit into it. You can.
The
move
problem
the
is
mic
though,
back
because every time it moves in, I get excited sometimes, and then I move forward.
Okay.
So I feel like
whatever is better for you.
I don't know.
I just want to make sure I can hear you.
Hear you. Yeah. Okay. Well, if I'm leaning back, I'll move it forward. I'll just be mindful of the placement of it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. That's better?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, being at the bottom of music, it's like the level of success is determined by a number, and you always need to be able to support yourself or your family. So no matter what, you want to be able to get to a point where you're making enough to support your family and yourself. So when you're at those points where it's like, I go to a bar and I make $10 on tips, and I didn't ask the bar to pay me, I didn't ask for the hour pay. So you really were banking off those tips and you only made $10. It's like, is this worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to remind yourself like, no, this is not music and playing is not about money. It's not about a number. You got to make sure that you're experiencing more than just the thought of failure, you know? And that's the thing. Music is such a personal thing, so you're going to fail all the time. You're going to always feel inadequate of what you're making and what people are hearing. So you kind of accept that and then just move on by being motivated the fact that you experienced that and you didn't give up. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of, if you really believe in what you're doing, that'll get you going even in those times where
the motivation should be the fact that you failed. It's like this, I'm still learning. There's still more.
Yeah.
And I think even
do you
if
think you'll ever get to a point where you're not learning anything in that field of music?
No, man. There's the fact that no matter whatever culture it was, whatever humanity had created, had some form of music and entertainment. And the arts, man, like there's caveman drawings. Like that's insane. There's no matter at some point you're going to be able to push the envelope for yourself. You know, even if you're not pushing the envelope and creating a different line for another person, you know, at some point you're learning something. And that's the beauty of life, man. That's the why you want to be getting up is the fact that no matter what, there's something more.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. So last question I have in this sphere of things. Everybody has goals, right? Yeah. One of the most important things, if you don't know this already, one of the most important things is visualizing your goals.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever field you're in, whatever you're doing with your life. I love telling people this because what I do as a video producer, right? Making videos for people, making movies. A lot of what we do is crafting stories that convey people's message to a broader audience and help them visualize something that otherwise they would have no idea what it looks like or how it works, right? So it's awesome. But the way this ties back is vision boards. So vision boards are like my favorite thing. I love making vision boards. I love, looking at my vision board every day, being like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to get there. Mm-hmm. Right? It helps you visualize your success. What does your vision board look like? Do you have a vision board? What does it look like?
So last time I made a vision board was 2 years ago. I do the yearly stuff, sit down, plan out for the year. A lot of pictures, making sure that you're visualizing an actual photo of something and being like, that's something I want to work towards. But I haven't made one this year. I did make one last year. But the three main goals, if I put on a vision board and was only given 3 pictures, would be able to record my first album, get that out, be able to produce it, play at Hakiki on River Road.
Okay.
I would love to do that. Now I'm drawing a blank on the third one.
I don't know. What's your third one?
I said it 3 hours ago, and I said it again. Hakiki. Oh, my goodness.
Record an album.
Record an album, play at Hakiki. Now my brain's farting. I just... Okay, I'm just gonna... oh, my goodness. I've literally... and keep playing at Taylor Street. That's, oh my goodness. Be able to continuously perform at Taylor Street and work more towards being able to just experience more of that culture at Taylor. I think just consistently playing there more would be incredible and more experience.
Would you ever try a different bar? Or are you...
Oh yeah, no, I've played at a couple of bars. I played at a bar over in North Lake. I played at a couple places in Elmwood Park. The Happy Tapper in North Lake. I love being able to experience multiple different places, but the fact that Taylor Street is this perfect intersection of all these different cultures. You got UIC, a bunch of young guys, and then you got the old guys in Little Italy. And, it's just so cool to be able to play like Vance Joy, Riptide, and then play Simple Twist of Fate by Bob Dylan and still have that incredible interactions with the crowd.
Right.
So that's why I want to be able to be there more regularly, play there more regularly, because you're going to learn so much. It's such a great learning experience.
That's awesome. Yeah. And they're not violent so far.
So far, so good. I've been heckled more by old people. And they smack the heck out of your back. So definitely been assaulted more.
All right. Awesome. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Is there anything else you wanted to share? that I didn't touch on?
I think, no. Oh, yeah. First and third Saturdays, I play at Taylor Street Tap.
Oh, yes.
And my brother plays on Fridays.
Where can people find you? How can people find out
James
more about
Palos Music at on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have a website?
No, not yet.
Are you going to for the album?
Business cards first, and then I'm going to do a website connected to the business cards.
Okay, and that's all going to be pre-album drop? Okay.
So it's going to be June most likely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Very exciting. Okay.
June 3rd.
So I like to end off with all my guests with some fun rapid fire questions. Everyone so far has not completed it in a minute. They've all been about 3 minutes, 2 minutes, something like that. Okay. So I've cut down the number of questions. We started with 10 with the first person. That was too many. Then I brought it down to 6. Now we're down to 5. So hopefully James can do it.
Yeah.
I should actually, maybe in the future, I'll do something where if the person actually gets the answers in under a minute, they win something. I feel like that would be kind of fun. Mm-hmm. But not today.
I also don't know these questions, by the way. This is the first time we're doing it, so I'm not practiced at all.
We'll see. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I should start a timer. Hold on 1 second. Let me stopwatch. All right. And 3, 2, 1. Top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Rashomon. 12 Angry Men. Dark Knight.
Okay. Guilty pleasure movie.
Confessions of a Shopaholic.
Favorite soundtrack or score?
Oppenheimer.
Okay. Top 3 songs to play live.
Johnny Cash, Folsom Prison Blues, Simple Twist of Fate, Bob Dylan, Hank Williams, Rambling Man.
Okay. Dream movie to score, direct, or be in?
Umbrellas, Shabu, act.
Okay. One creative project you've loved to do that no one knows about.
70, 80 foot mural of myself on a huge building.
All right. James made it in 45 seconds. It's a good thing I'm not actually giving out an award or anything because you would have gotten it. So, I don't want to give you anything.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Well, anyway, that's going to be the show for today. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to this podcast or watching this podcast. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. You can check out more of our stuff on YouTube. I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of other new, YouTube series, which will be kind of fun. Those are in the work. We're shooting those right now, which is actually pretty exciting.
Really?
Yeah. So,
awesome.
That'll be really great. Check out James online at his Instagram, and also stay tuned for more stuff with his album coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
We will probably have you back to talk about more, music stuff. And
it'd be awesome.
Stuff. I want to do at some point like a panel, because I know a lot of musicians who are very talented. I think it'd be really fun to just kind of do a panel discussion with all of them.
Dude, that would be awesome.
It'd be kind of fun.
Oh yeah.
I would definitely be the odd man out, but I think it would be a fun conversation.
Be great. You would be a great mediator, though.
Yeah, I would just kind of steer the conversation.
100%. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Of course. Awesome. Thank you for coming. And thank you for listening on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever else you're listening to these. And continue to check them out. We are dropping them once every week as of right now. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, and have a great rest of your week, everybody.
Be safe.